It's a pleasure to have one of my long-term colleagues, friends, and a dedicated firm leader, Jannelle Seales, here with me today. Janelle has spent her entire legal career at Weil, like myself, and she's recently been named co-head of the firm's market-leading real estate practice. Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation today.
Thank you for having me, Barry. I'm really happy to be here.
I'd like to start by asking you to tell me a little bit about your journey as a lawyer. What initially drew you into the profession, and how did you end up focusing on real estate as a practice and an area of expertise?
Yeah, I had a pretty unconventional path to becoming a lawyer. After college, I actually was in finance for 5 years. I started on the trading floor at a prominent New York investment bank, and then I moved to become a stock analyst. And when I was in the equity research department, I started looking around at the senior analysts and I realized they all had various types of graduate degrees. So I had gone in assuming they'd all have MBAs, and I realized some had JDs, some even had PhDs. And so that got me thinking maybe I would go to law school instead of business school because that would give me the flexibility to either become a lawyer or have that, opening to return to finance. Then I came to Weil for the summer and I decided there's no way I was going to go back to finance. This was the place for me. And I was pretty compelled by the folks in the real estate group because, notwithstanding the fact that it's industry specific, it incorporates all of the different corporate disciplines and both on the equity and debt side. So you end up just being a corporate lawyer. And I really like the expansive nature of that group. Also, all of the major transactions that the firm, engages in, they usually need a real estate expert on those transactions. So you get to interact with all of your friends and all of your colleagues in groups outside of the
Yeah, I
practice
know
group.
because I hear great things about you from all of your colleagues around the firm on the transactions that you help them with.
I love to hear that.
Your enthusiasm for what you do is very clear, and that's just the type of energy that we need in our leaders. The real estate sector has been talked about a lot since the pandemic with hybrid work, space needs, the whole enchilada, if you will. Can you talk to me a little bit now on anything specific in the market that you're seeing with your clients?
Yeah, as you noted, the pandemic put a lot of pressure on the office sector because of higher vacancies and obviously the hybrid work. And at the time, interest rates were rising, so borrowers really had a hard time refinancing debt on their underperforming assets. So at the firm, we saw a lot more loan restructurings that clients were going through, and even in some cases, asset takebacks. Now, there's still a demand for Class A trophy buildings, but the traditional office sector has really struggled. With respect to retail now, again, the traditional brick and mortar retail sector had a hard time due to the pandemic, but there has been some rebounding in segments of that sector, in particular, like the experiential retail. So, retail plus outdoor space or retail plus entertainment. And there's been some growth there, notwithstanding the fact that the traditional sectors have had some problems. We have a rebirth or a surge in demand of hybrid commercial real estate, like data centers and digital infrastructure.
Right, it's interesting what you say about the office market too, because now we are seeing a rebound because many businesses are now requiring 3 days, then 4 days. Whether we ever get to 5 days, I doubt, but we're seeing that in industries. That's a very insightful overview of the current market. Given all you're seeing in terms of evolving client needs, what are the goals for the practice over the next few years?
When I think about the evolution of our clients' needs, I think the greatest shift has been from client expectations. Clients now really expect to partner with us. They're not looking for us to just paper the deal. So we continue to evolve from just being transactional lawyers to being strategic advisors who really understand the commercial drivers behind each deal that we do. And I think clients are also very interested in transparency and efficiency. And so we're constantly evaluating technological solutions to help provide faster, smarter work product without compromising quality.
Right. I'm glad you said that without compromising quality, because with all the technological change, it really is about you fostering what we do, which is provide great judgment to clients and having the technology help us provide that as
Exactly.
opposed to replace it.
Exactly.
So I know with you and Tom steering things in terms of the practice group, I know that you're going to achieve a lot over the next few years. As a newly named practice group leader, how are you looking to shape the new generation at Weil, and how would you describe your own leadership style?
Look, we have a fantastic pool of talent at Weil. I think, the culture of Weil is collaborative. It's always putting the client first and putting out a great work product in a collaborative environment. And people really pitch in to help on each matters. They're really there to empower each other to do a great job. And I think that's a strong foundation and principle upon which to build with the next generation. I personally, my leadership style is pretty casual. I like to understand my colleagues as people as a whole, not just as coworkers. And that helps me to provide opportunities and mentorship and guidance to them that they need in the moment holistically. And I really feel that unless you're really pouring into somebody, you can't expect to get excellent
And from everything
work.
I hear from people in your group, you do that incredibly, incredibly well. And I think you covered it, which is you're looking at the person as a whole, and not just somebody who's providing work product for you. They're a person. Their feelings, there's
Exactly.
emotions, there's all things going on in their lives that you have to take into account when you are training and mentoring these younger lawyers.
Yeah, because it impacts their work and their everyday life really does have an impact.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you put it in an excellent fashion and incorporates a lot of my own thoughts and ideas and approaches to leadership. I'm curious though, as a practice leader and someone who regularly pitches for new business, if you were giving this sort of so-called elevator speech, why Weil? What would it be?
I think I've said this for 18 years. Why there's no other firm that has a culture like Weil. As soon as you walk into the door at Weil Gotschall, you're a part of that team, no matter what group you're in or department you're in. And that camaraderie creates the best work product for our clients because everybody is focused on the client first and their personal needs or their department's needs second. You're among the most talented, smartest lawyers in the business who also have a real entrepreneurial spirit. We're not, just resting on our laurels, relying on what we used to do. We're always looking forward and trying to figure out the next best thing, both for the firm and for our clients.
And I love that you said in a collaborative fashion, because all of those things come out. But teamwork, as you and I know, who have been lifers at the firm, is clearly number one. And those are clearly the key selling points for the firm, and ones that I say to people when I am selling the firm. I'd like to sort of switch a little bit and just round out the conversation by something that's a little bit more open-ended, which is, who is a leader outside of the legal industry that you admire, and why is that?
I guess you're looking for like a public figure or a luminary, but
No, it doesn't need to be.
okay.
Whoever is a leader, that you look at and admire for their leadership skills.
The people I admire most really are in my family. My grand my mo-
Perfect.
my my maternal grandmother is a hero of mine. She lived with us when I was a child. She emigrated from Trinidad in the 1960s with my mom and my mom's siblings. And my mom and her siblings were young adults at the time, and they came here for the usual reason, which is, for a better opportunity, that they could have in Trinidad. And I really felt like that took leadership, courage, tenacity. All the while, was a really fantastic human being, and I just really learned a lot about leadership and courage from her.
That's impressive, and I'm glad. It does not have to be a political figure. A parent, a grandparent is a more important person in shaping our lives, and clearly they did what they did to enable you to become what you've become. So that is awesome. So I'm going to change it up now completely, and I'm going to ask you just a series of quick questions, and whatever comes to your mind, just
Oh,
shoot them
boy.
back at me.
Here we go.
How do you like to start each day?
I would love to start the day with 10 minutes of meditation. And that happens sometimes, but it's usually me jumping out of the bed like a lunatic to get my kids ready for school.
What's your favorite snack?
I love those quinoa crisps, the undercover chocolate quinoa crisps. Fun fact, the creator is the sister of one of our Weil colleagues.
Wow. I'll
And they're
ask you
good.
later who
Yeah.
that is. What's your go-to health and wellness activity?
Walking. I can walk forever. I will walk. If I can get someplace within an hour and a half, I will walk.
What's the last movie you watched on a plane?
I don't really watch movies on planes. I really just read books or TV shows. But I think the last movie I watched was Creed 3. And the reason was I loved Rocky movies as a kid. And the Creed movies are a continuation of that franchise.
What was your favorite subject in high school?
Biology, because I wanted to be a doctor.
What's your peak time of day?
Morning, like 8:30 to 10, because I've dropped my kids to school, but the workday hasn't really started
And you've
yet.
had your coffee.
No coffee.
No coffee.
I don't drink any coffee.
Wow. Name a habit or attribute that drives your friends and loved ones crazy.
Oh, my husband. I when I'm working at night, I will go to sleep and I will set the alarm clock for some ungodly hour of the morning to finish working, and it wakes up the entire apartment.
What's the last TV show that you binge watched? Only because I'm always looking for good shows.
The Allen Iverson docuseries. I love
Wow.
sports documentaries, and it was great.
Name an upcoming vacation or trip that you're looking forward to.
Going to Trinidad for Carnival in February.
What word would an associate on one of your matters use to describe you?
I would say detail-oriented.
Okay. Well, that was awesome, and this whole discussion has been a pleasure, as I knew it would be. So thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you. It was really fun.